Welcome everyone, this is the Rocket.Chat Engineering Podcast. I'm Rodrigo Nascimento, Rocket.Chat CTO and co-founder, and your host on this weekly podcast. Here where we would talk about the news on the engineering areas from the past week. I have with me today our backend leader and co-founder, Diego Sampaio.
Hello there.
Our apps engine leader, Douglas Gubert.
Yo folks.
Our cloud leader, Aaron Ogle.
Good afternoon.
Our front-end leader, Guilherme Gazzo.
Yeah.
Our mobile leader, Mello.
Hey guys.
And our Omnichannel product manager, Renato Becker.
Hello guys.
So let's get started. This week we have some release notes to share, and I will talk about about patch release 3.8.2 that was released 2 days ago, with two small fixes. One related to the avatar update event that wasn't being properly broadcasted with all the information, and a crash with the server while we're reading settings to allow and block email domain lists. We released as well the mobile version 4.12.1 to the F-Droid stores, the same version that we released to the other stores in the past, some days ago. And we had the final release of 3.9.0 with some improvements, some new features. It was a small release due to the timing, since you took some time to release the 3.8, and we had less days to work on the 3.9, so consider less features on this one, but it made that on the normal days to back to the normal release dates for the next ones. Okay, so let's move on to the teams, and today we're going to start with Doug from the apps engine. So Doug, what are the news there?
Hello. So from the apps, we have released the apps engine version 1.20 that is out along with Rocket.Chat version 3.9. And we have very minor changes, signature changes to some methods, so that it is easier, like to improve the developer experience, right? Other than that, we centered our organization and prioritization for this month to be on the first version of the permission system. We've been working on the improvements of the implementation in the apps engine for some time now. There is the, sorry, I lost it. What is it called? The method for reading messages inside a room. Currently, it's not possible to fetch all the messages inside a room. One, because of the performance challenges that might introduce, and second, because we really expected this one to wait until the permission system is out, so that we can add a different permission for this feature, right? Because it is a sensitive part of the features, because reading all the messages inside a room can be potentially harmful privacy-wise. So that's why we wanted it to wait. And also that pesky bug we've been working on for the last weeks. We are trying some solutions for the bug on high availability clusters, where some apps are not enabled correctly after a restart. We've had one trial for a solution that didn't go very well. Now we're trying a different approach of I'm not gonna go too deep, I think, but is to consider like to not change data in the database during the server startup, and like keeping all these first the first state changes only on the local state of each instance in this cluster. So maybe that helps us managing all these changes. And that's it for this week. Thank you.
Awesome. It's a hard bug to figure out, this HR one. And do you have a date for that permission system specific podcast, the first one? Not yet.
We do. It's
Awesome.
we are working with December 8th, so next week, next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but the other. So
Great. The first special podcast. Nice. Thank you. Aaron, what's going on in the clouds?
Alrighty. So like I said last week, is actually had a holiday in the U.S., so not really anything to mention for last week. Something I wanted to call out real quick is the push gateway cap still is on target for going live tomorrow. So just so everybody knows that. Also mentioned last week the add-on project, so that's actually kicking that off this week. And beginning work on that. Deployment methods. This is also something else I want to kind of call out is if you're running mmap in your deployment method, now's the time to really kind of start looking at moving over to WiredTiger. We're doing this. We're looking at this for like Docker Compose. Our Docker Compose in our Rocket.Chat README actually recommends mmap. So we're working through trying to get kind of a migration strategy in place there for people running Docker Compose. But if you have the know-how, I would start looking at moving to WiredTiger because eventually mmap will be, or the version that mmap works on will be deprecated. So we're kind of focusing all of our energy on WiredTiger support and all the deployment methods, trying to get WiredTiger as the best supported. So just kind of throwing it out there is try to migrate sooner rather than later. And I guess finally, so we're working on that event that we've talked about. So that's pretty much it for the cloud team.
Thank you. And we're about to, let's say, some months to have 4.0 probably dropping some versions of the MongoDB and enforcing WiredTiger probably. So that's for sure a good thing to start looking now. People that are still using mmap to move to WiredTiger as soon as possible, because for sure has a end of life sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's worth just mentioning in case nobody knows what we're talking about. This is the storage engine that Mongo uses. So typically, I think in our docs that we actually mention how to switch to mmap during the installation, or we used to. So now it actually kind of the reverse. You need to actually switch the storage engine to WiredTiger.
Just out of curiosity, is that just the case to migrate from one to another? Is just the case to shut down the database and start with the new configuration, and do you migrate everything?
Unfortunately, no. You have to actually do a Mongo dump. So back up everything and then wipe out the. Usually, what we would recommend is actually starting up a new Mongo node, right? So the best case for no downtime is to start up a new Mongo node, make it WiredTiger, replicate all the data, add it to the replica set to where it replicates all the data, make it primary, and then get rid of your mmap node. So kind of like a way to do it without downtime.
Sure. So we can have both storage engines in the cluster, right? So we can
exactly
migrate one by one.
Yeah, so we actually just did this somewhat recently on Cloud, right? Because Cloud used to be mmap because that was the most we were most comfortable with. But since we put so much time and effort into WireTiger, we actually did this in Cloud, and that's the strategy we took is add a new WireTiger node and remove a mmap node until you get all of them replaced.
Sweet. Yeah. Makes sense. No downtime then. Cool. Thank you. So front end, Gazzo, what's going on there?
Hello. So we are still working on the rewrite. So we have now new page under React, like the auto translation, notification settings, and that's the pages are done. But we are working on the header. Actually, header brings a lot of work because we need to like there is a lot of other libraries type, but we are still working there. And we started next stage refactoring how the messages parser, how we parse the message. We're like focusing and improve the performance and avoid some unexpected behaviors like render links inside code blocks and emojis inside. We are like rethinking how we're gonna do that, and I think and we are planning to start to rewrite the login and OAuth page like for maybe this week, or if we not start this week, we're gonna start next week. But is the next steps, and I think we have now no plans to start the new.
Can you repeat the last 5 seconds?
Yeah, I think that I had a problem here.
Yeah.
I was talking about the SDK, right? And I said that we are not here writing, but we are like consolidating, and we have plans to turn this, like we have been using like an unofficial version for a long time. Then now we have plans to put on the master branch and like write documentation, and so probably this month we're gonna like release this new old SDK. Like, but yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, that whole idea on this SDK subject to officialize the branch that we are in fact using, that's not the master one, and start working a little bit on the documentation so people can start using the SDK better. So we can plan the version 2. We're going to rewrite everything, probably sharing the interfaces and types from the core as well, in a way that it can make more connected to the both codes. So sharing that interfaces would be a good thing. But the first step will be to officialize what we are still using right now. That's not the master branch, and then move forward with this refactoring. Okay, great, thank you. So on mobile, Mello, what are the news there?
Last week we implemented right to left support, and we fixed lots of issues. This week we'll be focused on Google OAuth on external browsers, CI for create a new CI step for the official apps. Currently, the experimental apps are released, are there on CI, but the official apps everything is manual, so we have to make a new step for both for Android and iOS. We'll also work on fixing more bugs and merging PRs, because next week we'll try to release a first beta for 4.13, and that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Omnichannel. Renato, what's going on there?
Hi guys. Yeah, I have some good news. The integration, actually the implementation with Salesforce is finally in review process, which means that this app is going to be available on our marketplace very, very soon. In this first version, the app will be able to create some objects in Salesforce, such as contacts and cases, and is also able to read other objects. For instance, tasks, calls, events, and that stuff. We have plans to improve this app very soon. The idea is to add the ability to send chat transcripts to Salesforce. It's there is a dependency for the permission system. So, as Doug mentioned before, it's something that we will be able to do very, very soon. So yeah, apart from that, we are also making progress on the Omnichannel directory. The team is adding new REST API endpoints that will support new UI components, such as the form that will allow agents to create new contacts and other forms like that. So yeah, everything is going very well so far. On integrations, still on integrations, we have plans to add some improvements to 360 dialogue app. I'm talking about the ability to send outbound messages to WhatsApp end users. It's a market demand. Companies want to reach out to their audience through WhatsApp, so it's a good moment to implement this feature. So yeah, it's another very important improvement. And the last but not least, we are now planning the next product roadmaps, and the new roadmap items. And now we are planning new features for the product. And an example is, a feature that we are calling chat supervising. It's a kind of communication between agent and supervisors. It's a kind of private communication. When the agent is assisting omnichannel end users, they will be able to ask for help to supervisors. But we are still in the very initial phase, so I will have some news regarding this matter very, very soon. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome, great. Chigo, backend, what's going on there? Are you able to talk?
Yes, I can try. Let's see if I don't have. There isn't much noise here, but yeah. Last week was we had the freeze period for the 3.9 release, so we were testing out the 3.9 version on our open server that we usually use for testing purpose on a production environment. So everything went well, I would say. I think the highlight of the 3.9 version was is that now if people are using LDAP or actually any third-party authenticator, now Rocket.Chat will ask for the two-factor authentication on logging process. That wasn't in place before, so this is a new feature that adds a new layer of security, even to the users that already use third-party authentication. as you mentioned before, Rodrigo, we also released the 3.8.2 release with a special fix that was affecting Snap users. So they should be fine now. I'm not sure. The Snap was already released with the 3.8.2. Do you know, Aaron? No.
I don't know. It definitely will be by the end of this day, though.
Cool. So yeah, that's was the main issue on the 3.8. Other than that, we have been still working on the merging the presence code, like the code that takes care of the user presence on the server. On the new microservice implementation, we actually have 2 different codes to do the same thing. One is on the monolith code, and the other one is on a microservice. We are now working to keep them as a unique code for obviously reasons like like not have the duplicated code and other things. Last week we also had an interesting issue on our CI that was challenging to fix. For some reason, our CI jobs were getting stalled, and then we had a bad time trying to fix them. I might talk faster. And that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank you.
The dreaded happened.
Yeah, I have some items to talk that I think that's interesting as well. We have a QA team now that's working on a new tooling that we bought to prevent, to do a regression tests on top of the Internet Explorer and Safari. And I think that's a nice thing to catch up problems earlier in the release process for those browsers. Because the tooling that we use now to test at Cypress, it works only on Chrome and Firefox, and you are not even using the Firefox version to test. But there is no support to Internet Explorer and to Safari, so we are now able to test that. It's automated tests, but it's kind of manual because you still need to run that from our machines. It's not integrated with the CI yet, but that's the plan to improve that. And the QA team is doing a triage of the issues on our GitHub repositories as well. So they are evaluating if those issues are, in fact, feature requests. So they are moving those feature requests to the correct place. And they are evaluating if the issues are still valid as well. So they can, if not valid, so they can close, they can know better the product while you're doing those evaluations and the triage. And they can plan the tests for things that they figure out is broken for when we fix those things as well. We have hired the engineering manager as well, so he's going to start working with us in 2 weeks. Someone to help us to start organizing this flow as well of issue triage, how we're putting those things on prioritization. It's a kind of nice thing as well. And I've been working with Singly from our opportunities area to start developing or drawing the future developer relations and community evangelist area inside Rocket.Chat, so we can improve our relations with the community, and we can start creating more content and participating in more events and so on. That will be a real improvement on our engineering area for all the perspectives. And yeah, I think that's all from my side. So finishing, thank you all for listening to this weekly podcast. This podcast is available as video on YouTube and audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and others. And thanks for the Rocket.Chat's engineering team to make this possible. See you all on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.